Andrea, can you hear us?
Hear you.
Andrea.
Yes.
All right. I
Can you
can't.
hear me?
I can't hear Andrea. We need to turn these speakers so I can hear. Okay. All right. Okay. All right, folks. We got to get going. Yeah. You got me. Are we on? What's your daughter's name again? Jackie. Jackie. All right, Jackie. We good to go? All right. Well, we got a few familiar faces out here. One, two, three, four. All right. All right. I'd like to call the order. January 6th, 2022, first meeting of the year. And we just barely made a quorum. Arthur Hooley is at work, not able to make it. Deborah is on Zoom. And Jerry Covington has resigned. And his last day was December 31st. He's moving to Tennessee. So if I can have everybody stand and follow me in the Pledge of Allegiance, please. All right. First thing on the list is meeting and budget 2022 schedule. So y'all have a list on page 5, section 1 of our meetings. We need to vote on them. And our work sessions are on the back page. And there is a work session in here that's been added in for June 2nd. Yeah, I'm sorry, June 23rd. Excuse me, I had the wrong one. We have the adoption for June 23rd, regular meeting. So there's an extra meeting been in place. Do I hear a motion to accept the our calendar?
I can make that motion, Mr. Mayor, to accept the calendar as presented.
Okay, I have a first by Jeff. Do I have a second?
A second.
I got a second by Ms. Davis. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Deborah? Can Deborah hear us? All right, I'm going to go with her. Is she raising her hand? Okay, yeah, she's raising her hand. All right, the motion passes. So this is your 2022 calendar of events. Next thing is mayor's committee appointments. All right. Like I had said earlier, I think it was in November, that we were going to start, we weren't going to have regular committees for sidewalk employees and so on, budget, that we're going to do it in work sessions between, before each meeting. It works a whole lot better. It's more interactive. People can talk about things better when it's all of us. And I just think we get a lot more accomplished then. But I do want to do 2 special committees because I feel that they're desperately needed. And I know one of them has been really pushed on to try to have. And one of them is a committee for events. By that, I mean to oversee the budgeting, the numbers, to make sure everything is going right with the events. I know Valerie had put a big mention into it about doing it. But what I'll do is I'll give you till next month, and anybody that wants to be on it. Valerie, would you like to take on that?
Sure.
All right, anybody else who would like to be on it, you can either email me, or if you want to let me know tonight, that's fine. The other one is well, that will be an ongoing committee through the year. So you meet when you need to. The other one is a short-term committee for a visitor center. So that we can, council members can, a couple people can take care of the visitor center as far as being run the way it needs to be or whatever, so that we don't have problems with it. It doesn't get out of hand, somebody else taking over, whatever. It's the town's visitor center. So I would like to have a couple people who would like to be on that committee to get the visitor center set up and going. So that's going to be up here, the old white building, or the one that the bank used to be the visitor center before. So do I have anybody who would like to do that, or y'all want to think about it and let me know by the next meeting?
I might have some interest in that, but maybe we should just hold off the next meeting when we have the rest of our.
What was
council
that?
here. We should probably wait until we can have the whole council here together, but I'd
Okay,
be interested.
I
in
agree
going
with you.
that one for sure.
Okay. The next thing is EDA. We have 2 positions open on EDA, 2 appointments. And my feeling about EDA, and I'm not ashamed to say it, is I think it needs to be dissolved. I don't see where the EDA in town has really done anything. And I just feel this a waste. We can get plenty of information from the county as far as trying to do economic development out on 301. Gary Wilson is very glad to do that. But if we don't, it needs to be on a basis of meet when needed, not a regular every month meeting type deal. So we don't have to tie up somebody to take care of their minutes and put their agenda together or whatever, but just to meet as needed. So I'm gonna throw that out at you. Either dissolve it or put them on as needed. Board of Zoning Appeals. We only have one, I think, that I'm aware of. Deborah, is Jeannie still on that?
Yes.
Okay. Now, I think she's the only one we have, and we're supposed to have 4. So we need to have the town manager advertise out there for Board of Zoning Appeals. And the next thing is council appointments. We have 1 vacancy, Jerry Covington. So I need to authorize, or I need to have the town manager post out there. Where are we at here? Oh, also, before I go any further, Deborah, I'm
Yes.
sorry, folks. Deborah is on Zoom because she is not feeling well. I apologize, I missed that. I need to ask for a motion to approve her being on electronic and, authorizing her to be on here and vote and stuff.
So moved, Mr. Mayor.
I have a first by Jeff. I got a second, Gene. I got a second by Gene. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, Deborah, you're good to go. All right, but what I was going to say is, I have moved to accept Jerry Covington's resignation from council, that the council vacancy be advertised for council to make an interim appointment until a special election can be held. At the time, the town attorney be directed to file a petition for a writ of special election for next November as required by law. So,
Mr. Mayor, I'll post those, the Board of Zoning Appeals and the council appointments online for interested people, and then bring it back to the February council meeting.
okay. All right. All right. Moving on.
Oh, Andrea?
What?
We can't hear Andrea.
What's she saying? Do we have to do a
I
motion
think,
on
I think
that?
you're muted, Andrea.
Can't hear us. No, we can't hear you.
I ain't got no text from her. Do we need to do a motion on that, Andrea? Nod your head.
Deborah, can you say something real quick?
Testing 1, 2. Could you hear me?
Yes.
Hello?
Excuse the technical difficulty, please.
Yeah.
Andrea, Zoom itself is showing that there's no sound coming
Call
from you.
Andrea.
So you might want to maybe reload it or go into your audio properties and reset it.
Andrea, I'm calling you so you can talk by phone.
Deborah, were you able to hear Andrea just a second ago?
I was earlier. but-
Yeah, during the sound check, but not the last minute or two.
Yeah.
It's echoing. Okay, Andrea, can you speak?
Nope.
That doesn't work.
Ask her if I gotta do a motion on that or not.
She hung up.
If not, we're gonna move on.
Call Andrea.
I mean, it kind of sounds like it, but
Can we take a 5-minute recess to get this straight?
all right. 5-minute recess, folks.
It was working before, but we think it's on your end. Yeah, she didn't do anything. She didn't change it. Okay, so Jeff said close down and reopen. So if she shuts down, then we'll have to accept her back into the meeting. Okay. Yeah, this won't work for the public hearing, so we've got to. Yeah. Okay. She's talking. Can you hear her?
Can you hear me? We can hear you. Okay, fine. Okay.
What's that?
Are we ready to go now? Everything's fine?
Oh, number 2, I see, yeah.
All right.
Yeah, that's what I kind of figured.
Moving on to public hearing. First public hearing is on the
I
town
cannot
hall
hear you.
rental rates.
You can't hear
Go
us?
ahead now.
I cannot hear you.
They can't hear me.
Okay, got it. I'm good.
Got it?
Got it? Okay.
Just I'm gonna do it like this. All right.
Okay, so
for-
Mr. Mayor, what I was trying to say is if the minutes could reflect that Ms. Howard is participating remotely from her home in Bowling Green. That's a required element.
I did.
And yes, we do need a motion to accept Mr. Covington's resignation, advertise for interested applicants, and authorize me to file for a petition of a writ of special election.
Okay. That's what I was wondering. Thank you.
And I
All
made
right.
that motion.
Do I have a motion to accept Jerry Covington's resignation and to advertise for a interim position until such time that we have a special election next November?
So moved.
I got a first by Jeff. Got a second by Gene. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right. Motion carries. All right. Now we're moving on.
Mr. Mayor, I have a question.
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
It's in referencing the EDA. So what is the protocol for dissolving them? Is that totally up to you, or is it, I guess I don't understand that process.
Could I,
No,
could I
it's-
maybe interject there real quick before we get to, the EDA does have verbiage in the comprehensive plan right now that we're supposed to have it. So I would submit that we should probably take a look at that before doing anything too rash. I don't want to go against our comp plan, but if that's something that we want to refer to the planning commission to start that, get that through.
That's fine. I just gave you my opinion of it, but
Andre was-
it's up to council to dissolve the EDA.
Why don't we put this topic on next month's
Yeah.
agenda so that we can all come prepared for discussion?
That's fine.
Sounds good.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Now can we move on to public hearing? All right. Public
Yep.
hearing for town hall rental rates.
Mr. Mayor, members of council, over the past many months, there's been a review of the current rental rates for Town Hall, and discussion included issues about covering the expenses of the building, including internal and external building maintenance, utilities, police protection, setup, cleaning, and internal and external improvements. So a draft document was prepared, and so far, these are the rates that have been advertised. These rates do include cleaning fee of the bathrooms, kitchen, floors, and setup and breakdown, which is $275 that the town pays to a service to do that. They do include that fee. So the current rental rate for standard rental is $575. The proposed rate is $975. The nonprofit current rate is $250, and the proposed rate is $575. There's no current special rate for town residents or town employees. The proposed rate is $575. The extra preparation after 4 o'clock the night before an event was $100, and the proposed rate is $200. The Rappahannock room in the front, the proposed rate includes $100 for setup, breakdown, and cleaning. Cleaning includes the bathrooms, kitchen, and floors. Again, it is included in what I'm about to say. The standard rental is $175. The proposed rental is $350. The deposits for the ballroom were $150, and the proposed rate is $300. These deposits are returned after the property's been inspected. The Rappahannock room, the current rate is $50 for deposit, and the proposed rate is $100. Police protection fee is $47 per hour, which will be paid to the town as in cases where there is alcohol served and an ABC license is required. And that currently is just being paid directly from the renter to the police for the police service. It will be paid instead to the town, and the town will pay those costs. If there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Hearing none, I'd like to open public hearing. So if you have anything to say, please come up, post podium, state your name and your address, and I'll give you 3 minutes.
If you could hit that little button, turn the mic on when you get there. Oh, hit it again all the way. Thank you.
My name is Cheryl English,
And I'm Emily Shawn.
and our cohort caretaker. We run the Tinseltown show in November. And we are finding it's going to be tough to be able to go with those rates for Tinseltown.
Mainly, I mean, if you figure the cost of your vendors, you know, they pay a portion
Can you
of the cost.
approach the microphone? We can't
Oh,
hear.
sorry.
Thank you.
But, you know, we've worked hard to build these events, and we would hope that other organizations would also kick in and do different, you know, different little markets for the community or just different events. And my worry would be that it would deter people from renting town hall when they see that amount. It's not just the event itself, but the amount that we would have to charge each vendor would increase and may possibly deter them from participating.
And the rules that you all have about us renting the hall to rent out to vendors, we're not able to make a profit. So we have to take in effect what we have to spend for this event, for the hall, insurance, and et cetera. And so at that point, and you know, by having some donations given in, we have to take whatever profit we do have and we give it to charities here in the county. So, you know, this past year, we gave it to the Angel Food Pantry, and we also gave it to, what is that, Life Support? No, the Alzheimer's group,
For the
the sheriff's office. So, you know, with doing that, we are, you know, it's really a love that we're doing for our town to bring people here, to bring business here, for everyone to share. So it's not just the vendors in here. All of the stores here and restaurants are getting a lot of this business that we bring here that day. So, you know, if we're not able to reduce the rate, keep the rates similar or not as high as you're going, you know, could there be an exception for our group for that day?
We do figure we brought in over 2,000 people into this hall in November. It was quite a lot of people all day.
which was a really nice profit of a donation to be able to give to our community. We collected food that day. Everybody came in, they donated a can of food or a box of food, and we were able to take that to 400 and some pounds of
400, it was almost 450 pounds of food.
donated to our local food bank here at the Bowling Green United Methodist Church.
Right. And then the donation went in on top of that when we were done. So we feel like, if nothing else, we are giving back to our community. It's a community event. So.
Yeah. And you know, we're really counting residents. So doing this for our town.
Thank you, ladies. That was nice. We will address that. Anybody else?
Good evening, Council. Bonnie Cannon, South Main Street. I appreciate the opportunity to speak tonight. I have the copy of your rate increases here in my hand. And I would like to ask you to postpone, if possible, your rate increases till January 1, 2023. Just a suggestion. I am associated with a lot of nonprofits as a volunteer, and I do not see how, with these ladies, what they just said, we could pay such rates and try to come out ahead. And also, the town resident here, you went from 0 to 575. I think all these rates here are excessive. You should do a gradual increase, not a gigantic jump like you have here that I'm reading. Gradually increase something like this. Don't do, these are excessive fees all at one time. So think about possibly delaying with the pandemic, the world, the status of our world and our nation right now. I don't think you want to jump into doing something like this so excessive right now until we hopefully get through the pandemic by January 1, 2023. Thank you for the opportunity to speak.
Anybody else? Seeing none, hearing none, I'll close open hearing for town rates. All right. Do we have a motion? No motion? To go into discussions?
When it comes to these motions, they're going to be a bit more meat to them. I will say I'm a little uncomfortable making any motions without the full council here. Granted, we don't even have anybody to fill Jerry's seat yet, so I know that's a problem, and we're only really missing Arthur. But, it would have been nice to have everybody here. Can I respond to one of the points made real quick?
Is that a motion to postpone a decision?
I'm thinking about it. I was going to try to poll the council first, but can I respond to one of the points that was made?
I can't hear you.
Can I respond to one of the points that was made real quick? It was important. Did you hear me then?
No, take your mask off. You're muffled real bad.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. How about that?
Yeah.
All right, okay. I wanted to respond to one of the points that was made real quick. Okay. We are not going from 0 to 575. Just want to be clear about that. Currently, there is no exception for in-town residents. The base rate as of right now is 575. Because the base rate is being looked at to be increased, a general discussion thought that it would be good to allow the in-town residents to maintain the current rate at the 575. What would be going up would be the for anyone out of town, and the nonprofits would be paying more as well. And those would be the 975 for out of town and the 575. So nonprofit and in-town people will be paying the same base rate that is currently right now, whereas before there was no exception for town residents, and nonprofits had a even larger discount. They were at $250. I just wanted to clear that part up. Now that said, I would like to make the motion to defer until the next meeting, where presumably we could all be here.
Well, I mean,
Could I possibly
we have a quorum now.
We do have a
so-
quorum, but I'm probably going to repeat myself later in this meeting. I am concerned that with the way this week has been, that we don't have the turnout here that we otherwise would have, because we don't even have all of our council here. Would you all be amenable to continuing the hearing itself until the next meeting? So that, because if we just defer this till next meeting, more public cannot speak to it. So if we continue.
The hearing has already been closed, but citizens
That's true.
can come to the next
You're right.
meeting and share their thoughts at citizens' time.
Okay, if we put this after the public comment period, okay. All right.
Yes,
Yeah,
and if there is a motion to postpone it to the February meeting, postpone would be the best way to phrase it.
Okay, thank you, Andrea. Thank you for mentioning that I missed that window for before the public comment was closed. If that's the case, then I would make the motion to postpone until the February meeting.
I have a motion on the floor to postpone it. Do I have a second? All right, I have a second. Discussions. We've been through this, over and over. And, I don't know what we're going to do, and we can't seem to make our minds up.
I have something I'd like to say.
The thing is, usually groups would always come up to council and say, can you help us out? Can you do this or that? I mean, that group there, I will have to say, they donate everything. It goes to a good cause. And we've always made special, have situations where we drop the rate down for people, teachers, schools, whatever, come in here. So, I mean, it's always something that we can do at our leisure. I think what they do is great, and I don't want to push anybody out. But also, we did sit here and go over this and over this on these rates. We weren't even covering costs. It was costing us money. We had to put additional $275 out to clean the buildings when it was at the $575 rate. We didn't cover, we didn't make anything, nothing. And if you think about it, really, does the town need to make anything on it? Well, with our tight budgets, we got to have something that covers the overhead and the cost of the building, and that's one way to do it. Renting it out covers the cost of the building, overhead and expenses, where we're not making it. So then the building gets like it is, and we have to pull it out of other funds. So, but we do have a motion. We have a second. Do I have any other discussions before we go to a vote?
Yes, I have a statement to make. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
Okay, I concur with what these ladies talked about. I think they do fabulous work in the town, but I do have this to say. I agree that we have thought about this for a while, and we all have wrestled with what is the right thing. And I think for me, I'm asking people, everyone that rents that building, to take some responsibility for the building, because this building, we are assuming that we have money to maintain it and to keep it up. And why not look at it as, when I pay to rent this space, I'm helping the town maintain this space. I think some of it is how we view this as, this is not something that's punitive for people. This is, I think as a town, we need to look at our historical sites and think about how we don't have money to maintain this. This is the reality. And you're right, it does take upkeep and cleaning. And if we can all, think about when we're doing an event, what's wrong with, thinking of it like this, I'm doing this for this building, for our town, because it's a great building. And so I think there's several ways to look at it. And I don't think anybody wants to make it a burden for anyone. But I think me personally, and from when I'm working with council, it has been more or less to look at the longevity of what we have and taking care of it. So I'm fine with postponing it, but those are my thoughts and what we've heard tonight.
All right, anybody, any other comments?
Yeah, I just want to say that I already do honestly feel fairly comfortable with what we've worked up here. I was just merely concerned. We only had one group come up to speak, and so I was just concerned about being as fair as possible and just giving time for other people to come up. And that was really it. If we want to end up doing things now, that's okay. I would just prefer to give more of that time, but either way is okay with me.
I was just going to suggest, since you do create this event for distribution to charities, et cetera, have you ever considered creating a Tinseltown Foundation as a nonprofit? And that would reduce your cost even more than what you paid this year. You would need to speak to your whomever. I don't know how your organization is formed. Just a suggestion so that it would cut your costs even less than what you paid this year. Totally up to you.
All right, anybody else?
Well, I don't, since that's all on the record, that would be the same as this year. Nonprofit by this verbiage is going up to the 575 base rate, so it wouldn't be less. Well, I'm presuming that they were the standard rate of 575. Okay, I just didn't. I just
Yeah.
want to be fair again, just make numbers right.
All right, we have a motion, we have a second. Let's do we'll do a roll call. Gene, this is motion to postpone this till next month. Jeff? Tammy? Valerie? Deborah?
Yes.
All right, motion carries. We'll resume it next month. We've already closed public hearing, so I guess if anybody wants to speak, they can just come up in public comments. Yep. All right, next thing on the agenda. Item number 4, rezoning, number RZS-2021-020, Fairmont. You have anything
Yes.
you want to add,
I'll
Allison?
present the staff report first, and then the applicant will present his, and then the public hearing. This is a rezoning from business to R3 residential. It is an 88 parcel residential subdivision with 55 townhouses and 33 single-family houses. It has a resulting density of 4.53 units per acre. The 19.47 acre site is located on the west side of Route 301, AP Hill Boulevard, approximately 500 feet north of Broadus Avenue, and it's currently undeveloped. There's one point of ingress-egress that's proposed, and that's directly on to Route 301. There's a 10-foot wide multi-use path shown on the VDOT right-of-way, which, if constructed, will provide pedestrian connection to Broadus Avenue from the development. The general development plan depicts common area on the perimeter of the development and a path going around the entire development. And there are no recreational features shown except for that. The area for stormwater is not shown, and the building elevations, it's not that they're not provided. The applicant did provide them back at the Planning Commission, and he will be speaking about that in a minute, but they are not proffered, I should have said. The applicant has submitted a narrative, and it's included in your packet, and he will go over his narrative. This is the first residential subdivision in this annexed area along Route 301 North. The future land use map identifies this area as mixed use, and the application for R3 allows by code a multifamily use at the highest density provided in the town code. The town's appearance and design are noted in the comprehensive plan, and they state that it's an important quality of life issue for its residents and as an economic development tool. Also noted in the comprehensive plan are entrance corridors, including Route 301, says the comprehensive plan. And it's important for historical, aesthetic, and practical reasons, which serve to visually identify the town boundary, establish the first impression of the town for visitors, and to generally show the town's commitment to its appearance and attractiveness. The comprehensive plan recommends to minimize the impact of development on major roads by limiting access points and providing side street access and common entrances. The town currently has water and sewer available to support the project. It's about 94.2% of the currently permitted withdrawal, which will be utilized at full build out of this project. I should note that there are approximately 80 vacant lots within the town. Some of those can be divided. Those lots are not currently served by water and sewer, so this does not account for those 80 vacant lots with development rights. The comprehensive plan also recommends to protect environmentally sensitive areas such as steep slopes, historic and archaeological resources, wetlands, water supply, wildlife habitats, and other sensitive areas. There are proffers that have been submitted, and the general development plan has been proffered to be substantially in compliance with the final site plan as the final approvable plan. The applicant agrees for transportation to provide a 200-foot right turn lane and a 200-foot right taper from AP Hill Boulevard. The comprehensive plan, as I stated, says mixed use, which is R1, R2, R3, B1, B2, and planned unit development. It includes a variety of densities and a variety of residential and business. So the town council must decide what is the proper amount of the mixture of uses. The property borders on Maricossack Creek, ponds, and wetlands. There's a 100-foot resource protection area along the entire western edge of the site. There is a traffic impact statement that the applicant will go over that he has done for this proposal. Sewer capacity would only utilize about 40% total after this development, if approved, and so there is sewer capacity available. The school packs are in the report, and the applicant can cover that if there's any questions. And also, there's a tax revenue report by the applicant. The general development plan does contain some inconsistencies with town code, including that the town code currently doesn't allow for private roads. And also there is a requirement that townhouses and apartments shall not be less than 6,000 square feet, which include open space. So they have placed a walking trail to include the area on the perimeter of the site, to include that as the open space. I don't have anything showing exactly how much the stormwater area will be. That can't be calculated twice, as open space and as an area for a utility. So that would be excluded from this total. And so at site plan review, if they weren't able to meet that requirement, then they would need to eliminate some of the lots. The Planning Commission held a public hearing on October 18th, 2021, and there were several issues that were cited by citizens and then by the Planning Commission in that public hearing. There were concerns about safety and the traffic on Route 301, and that the proposed road was not in alignment with the crossover from to the northbound Route 301. They were concerned about the impacts to services and the number of school-aged children, adequate water for the growth of the town, and water sources and wells. concern with impacts to sheriff, fire and rescue, schools, water and sewer. And then there was the land use density that seemed to be a great concern with the number of the requested houses and the appropriate density and what that might be. There were also questions about the revenue and taxes that were suggested by the applicant, and he will go over that, and concerns that the property is bordering environmentally sensitive land. I do have to say that the resource protection area is not, that's already been accounted for, and that is the buildable area, there's still buildable area on each of the lots that is outside of the resource protection area. There was a request for HOA documents and a concern about the usable open space and the vegetative buffer, property values, and concern about existing developments that need to be finished, that haven't reached their full build out yet. And that was not included in the 80 lots that are in the town that are still undeveloped. So the Planning Commission, after they held their public hearing, they continued the public hearing, and then there was the continued to November 15th, 2021. And the issues were the same at the next Planning Commission meeting. And the Planning Commission recommended denial based on a variety of issues, including those, as I stated earlier, including the concern with safety and traffic on Route 301 and the access point, including the public open space and the comprehensive plan, that there was a lack of consistency with the comprehensive plan, and the area should be mixed use, predominantly commercial. They felt that that was the appropriate mixture. They were also concerned that it would utilize the 94% capacity of water, and that the well at Maury Heights did not meet the current standards, and it had to be abandoned. That the result was that the town paid for the water by the connection fees. There was a concern that the town spent additional money to properly abandon that well and drill another well, and that there's no guarantee that the well water is going to be usable. They were concerned about schools and the impact on all the services. They were concerned about the environmental issues, being that it is surrounded by environmentally sensitive land. It was a unanimous recommendation of denial to Town Council. And the only other issue that I'd like to bring up is that I know that water has been discussed, and it has been stated that there is adequate water at this point. And as I stated, this particular project, barring the undeveloped land already in the town, that it would use 94% of the existing water. Without a report from DEQ and a report from a licensed engineer who actually specializes in water and sewer, I do not have the exact answers. And it was pointed out by the Planning Commission that even if you drill wells, test wells, that there's still a problem. And that I think is evidenced by the fact that there was a well drilled at Maury Heights, and my understanding is other wells that were done that didn't work for the town. So all I'm saying is that there are unknowns about this. And so with that, if there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Well, when it comes to the water, all we gotta do is get DEQ to up the permit on the amount of water we use each day. So I don't know where you're getting the 94% from, because we've got water in the ground. Ma'am?
I'm sorry to interrupt you. I hate to do that, but you should next open the public hearing and allow
Okay.
the applicant to speak.
Okay.
And then after that, either after it's decided to close the public hearing today or to perhaps continue it to next month,
Okay.
then perhaps council comments would be appropriate.
You got me in trouble, Allison. All right, I'd like to open public comment at this time. Anybody like to speak, please come up, state your name and address, and I'll give you whatever time you need.
Mr. Mayor, we're going to the applicant to do his presentation.
Yes. Applicant, do his presentation.
Good evening, council members and mayor. I'm Chad Webb. I'm one of the owners of Fairmont. Thank you for the opportunity for my brother Dan and I to present this rezoning to you tonight. We are extremely excited about this project, and we're very, very excited for all of the awesome improvements and upgrades and everything that's going on in the town right now. We just think it's awesome, and we think this is going to be a great thing to add to it. We feel like this is a puzzle that started years ago, and it's all finally come together. And it started back in the 1990s with the annexation of the 301 corridor. Then in the 2000s, the extension of the public water and sewer out 301, the modification to the comp plan to try to have just a good combination of residential and commercial. And now we are here. And so we are very excited to be the first development in 30 years of the annex to come before you to have a project to benefit the town. So anyway, thank you very much for hearing us. And my brother Dan will give you a lot more of the technical details. Thank you.
Thanks, Chad. Good evening. Again, my name is Dan Webb. You know what? I have a PowerPoint presentation that is behind you with some slides. Fairmont currently is zoned business, and we feel as though there is a great need for residential growth in town to help promote other commercial opportunities that we're hoping will come. I wanted to go over just the general layout of Fairmont. This is our main state road that will come in that will service 33 single-family detached homes, and then we have 55 townhouse units that are here. As Allison said, we are proposing to put a nature trail that will go around the perimeter, and our entrance is located down here, a distance away from the crossover. In our meetings with VDOT, they determined that, their response is they felt as though this was a safer access point than right at the crossover, and this does meet all of the standards. It has gone through a very brief VDOT review, and we meet all the distance and spacing requirements. Can you do the next slide? We are also proposing to do a 10-foot wide asphalt trail, multi-use trail that is going to start at our entrance, and it will run within the VDOT right-of-way and will connect all the way up to Lakewood Drive. That will take the pedestrians, make a pedestrian connection to the existing sidewalk network that we have within town, and we feel as though that's very important. Next slide, please. Again, this is the future land use map that's in the comprehensive plan. All of this magenta or purple area here is what is considered to be mixed use. Everything on the opposite side of the street is still going to remain business. And our contention is our little project, which is right here, is 19.5 acres. It's not really big enough to do a mixed commercial and residential. So we've decided to do a mixed residential with a variety of uses in residential. And what we feel as though that will provide the people that will help make this more marketable, this area. And I think that, we're full support of what Northview, the Manzas are doing here on the other end with their residential, and they're retaining some commercial. I think that the combination of our residential units and, if they're both approved, his residential units are really going to help encourage growth, not only out here on the annexed area, but we also feel that's what's needed to encourage additional growth downtown. Our downtown, we're very excited about everything that we've seen here lately, and we'd love to see that continue. Next slide, please. I included this after a discussion with a council member. I'd mentioned that, we have had plans for an additional commercial block within town. This is Main Street. This is Milford Street right here. That is the existing courthouse. Currently existing, there is a brick building here, and there's another brick building there, and then that's the frame building. Those two buildings, these two buildings here are what we call Bowling Green Suites. But the ultimate plan that my father and my uncle who own that property, they would like to extend that road that has been constructed down to this point, and they'd like to extend that and create an additional block that would come out onto Milford Street right by the post office. And so you can see we are proposing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 additional buildings with all of the additional parking. Currently, this line right here represents where that's the existing parking area that you would see. So additional parking would be constructed, and then all the additional parking that would be allowed for on the on-street parking, plus these parking bays back here. So I just wanted to give you a little preview. We feel as though, we have additional area right in our downtown to grow, and that additional residential growth out in the annexed area will just help promote that. And we think that's a great thing. Next slide, please. Currently our property is zoned business. And so I was trying to determine, what could we do here commercially? And so I prepared a commercial layout on the 19.5 acres. And what I have proposed here is 3 commercial pad sites along the frontage, one being a gas station, one being a fast food, and this just being some other sort of retail establishment. And then I did a 40,000 square foot shopping center layout to the rear, which is of equivalent size of the Food Lion shopping center that we have right here in town. Did that just to get a scope and idea. 1, how much traffic would that generate? 2, what sort of real estate, what sort of taxes would we anticipate something like that generating? But let's keep in mind that all of this commercial area has been out there for decades and nothing has happened. There are finished pad sites that are there. When I was on town council for 10 years and working with the different groups, we approached different commercial developers and really tried to promote this annexed area, especially because we spent, millions of dollars to extend water and sewer and included all these properties within the special taxing district. We wanted to make sure that we were getting the word out. And so we contacted a number of developers, some of the larger local developers. I've reached out to other retail establishments and the gas stations, and we just have not had the population to make that happen yet. And so that's why I really feel as though the residential would really help growth on this annexed area and also our growth downtown. Next slide, please. So I had done a real estate tax assessment. I did 3 different assessments. One, currently as it's undeveloped, the annual real estate tax that it's generating is $422. I then did an assessment of if it were developed based on the layout that I just showed you. I went through and we did assessed values of what each of those buildings would be, and we're looking at a total assessed value of somewhere around $6 million, and that would generate right around $8,000 annually. And then I went through and did an assessment based on the townhouses and the single-family homes. And you can see that we would have a taxable value right around $25 million, which would generate annually right around $32,000. So it's a substantial increase in real estate tax revenue. Next slide, please. I then went through and looked at just the utilities. We're looking at water and sewer availability rates. You know, for the current undeveloped, it's 0 because nothing is happening. If we were to collect the one-time availability and sewer rates for the commercial layout, that's right around $100,000. And then if we were to do what we're proposing today, that's going to generate for water and sewer availability fees $1.1 million. It's about 10 times the amount. Now, granted, that is a one-time fee, but that's a one-time fee that goes to pay for infrastructure needs that are required. The other item that I have here is I did an analysis on what the water and sewer, the bi-monthly charges would be, and then I totaled up what that would generate annually. And as it's currently developed, obviously that's 0. Looking at the meter sizes for the commercial layout, we're looking at somewhere around $5,000 annually. And if you look at the this column here is annually. I was looking at what those bi-monthly rates were, but then I did convert them to an annual. Yeah, it is annually. And then what we did here annually for the residents, it's going to generate about $66,000. So again, you know, just on the bi-monthly rates, you're looking at a 10 times the amount for our water and sewer. So I think that's a substantial gain for the town for water and sewer availability, real estate. You know, what I have not factored in, I have not factored in some of the other personal property taxes that could be generated by some of the businesses. You know, there would be some gains potentially there, but there are also gains on vehicles and other things that the residents are going to have. Typically, our largest, and I say we are the town's largest line item for revenue has been meals tax. And the problem is, I think that we are getting the meals tax that we're going to get. You know, if we had another restaurant out there, I don't think we have the people to support it. You know, I know that we've had the New Yorker restaurant that's been out there. Someone's out there now, but I mean, it's been very difficult to get new restaurants. We finally have one Mexican restaurant that seems to be doing well, but we've always had restaurants that flounder. And I think that, you know, the increase in people are just going to help. That's where we're going to get that increase in meals taxes by the additional people eating. And as we have additional people, we'll have additional restaurants that are going to grow. Next slide, please. You know, the other item that I'd heard a lot is that people were very concerned with what the appearance from Route 301 for the project would look like. And I think that we can all agree that what we're looking at here is not what we want to see. This is a project that most of us are probably familiar with. It's called Mallard's Landing, and it is in Spotsylvania County, just north of New Post and Ruffins Pond. But as you can see, there's no buffer, no trees. You're just looking at the backs of the units. I mean, that's not what I want to look at, nor do I think anybody else would want to. And that's not what we're proposing. And just to illustrate what we are proposing, I've taken a couple of examples that are within the town of Bowling Green along 301. No house really fronts 301 on any of the subdivisions as you go through. So I pulled out one in Bowling Green Meadows. So if you give me the next slide. This is Bowling Green Meadows. This happens to be the closest house to the bypass. And as you can see, I don't know if you can read that number, but the distance from the house to the edge of the travelway is right at 100 feet. Next slide. I went out right at that spot that I measured, and I took a picture of what the view shed looks like from 301, and that's what it looks like. You don't see the house. You know, there's a good substantial buffer. If you could go back to the previous slide, and you can see what that existing buffer looks like. It's thick right there, and you don't see anything from 301. Okay, next slide. Next slide. I next took another house that is on Lacey Lane, and I did the same measurement. You know, we measured from the house right there to the edge of the travelway, and that distance is 112 feet. And you can see the vegetation that is back behind that. There, you know, there is a yard right in here, and then we have a vegetated buffer there. Next slide. That is the picture of what it looks like from 301. You don't see the house. All you see is a nice vegetated woodshed, a view shed. Next slide, please. So this is I was doing a distance from the back of the unit that we're proposing to the edge of the roadway. And that distance that we're showing there is 118 feet. So it's all relatively the same with those other two homes. We have about the same distance, and we're going to be maintaining the same type of buffer. Next slide, please. This is a picture of what that view shed looks like currently. So it's very similar to what we were showing on the other two areas. So I just wanted to just show and illustrate that I feel like we're going to have an adequate view shed, just like any of the other existing homes and subdivisions. And you know, we're going to be a little bit elevated, which is going to help. Next slide, please. You know, the next, this is a picture. I included a copy of these with the packet that I dropped off. As I read the staff report said that we had not provided any elevations of what the homes would look like. I know that they were included within the electronic presentation to the Planning Commission. They weren't in your packet, so I went ahead and put those on the slide and provided those to you. But this would be a typical elevation for the single-family homes. Next slide, please. This is another elevation. The previous were two-story. This would be what one of our ranch-style homes would look like. Next slide. And this is the general appearance as to what our townhomes would look like. They're going to be three-story, garage. We're thinking of a craftsman style, so you can see some of the dormers. And if you can look on your packet, you can see the different treatments that we're going to have on the front. I probably should have had these units in color like we had the others. The units aren't going to be all white like that, but you'll notice that we're going to have some stone, brick, and different treatments for each of the units to help them stand out. And that's really all that I had. The next few slides are slides that were just the generalized development plan. So if you want to go to the next one, I have that whole GDP in here if we needed to reference or look at or discuss anything. But I'm happy to answer any questions, or I can go sit down and wait.
All right. Do we have anybody else? Thank you, Dan and Chad.
Did you open the public hearing, Mr. Mayor?
Yes, I did that before Dan got up.
Okay, thank you.
Uh-huh.
Can you hear me? I'm not sure you can or not. Yes, you can. I'm Bonnie Cannon, South Main Street. Again, Council, I appreciate the opportunity to speak tonight. And I'm going to say right up front, in case I run out of time, Mr. Mayor, that I'm strongly opposed to this development. So anyway, I will move on. I just wanted to make that point very clear from the beginning. Referencing, I have staff report book right here in front of me. I would like to see the zoning stay as it is. Is it, town manager, correct me, this is mixed use commercial, is that right? Mixed use, okay, which can be, okay. I would prefer that it stay mixed use as is and be no commercial, no residential development. I think there are a lot of unanswered questions. Leave the zoning as it is presently.
It's
It's
mixed
B1.
use in the comprehensive plan. It's
Right.
it's business in
Commercial.
the zoning, as a zoning district, yes.
Okay, thank you, sure. Also, I think there are a lot of VDOT issues that affects this when you're gonna have a lot more traffic. And I'm gonna go over here to page, whatever it is here, section 1B in the town right here, what I have a copy of, under proffers. I'm on page 14, and I'm gonna reference the staff comments here that I think Allison may have mentioned. But anyway, the term generally developed is vague and provides a lot of discretion and flexibility. A more definitive commitment would be substantially developed, provided the Planning Commission, Town Council determine that the GDP is consistent with the comprehensive plan. And then under the last one, it says staff comment. The wording of this statement is broad, allowing the developer discretion in redesigning the development following approval of the rezoning, essentially negating GDP proffer 1B. And also in continuing, I'm going to reiterate on what she mentioned earlier. This county just went through a massive tax reassessment, and I think this could hugely affect future tax reassessments in this county. I'm a retired senior citizen living here. I've been here all my life. And now I'm retired on a fixed income. I cannot pay any more. I don't want to pay any more taxes in this county as a result of something like this, a big development like this. The water and sewer rates could go up. It affects water and sewer. I was listening what she said a little bit ago, affecting the water usage, sewer usage. School education can be affected. Fire rescue support can be affected. Sheriff police support can be affected. And also, in regard to the commercial, I would like to see, I'm thinking of one of the pictures that Mr. Webb put up a few minutes ago on the screen. Right there on the front on 301 where he had 3 slots or something. If anybody went over to Food Line today, I went over to get 2 items. They had neither item I wanted. The store was so empty. So I would like to see a good grocery store. We need a second grocery store on that front corridor over there. I think that this could have been a huge solution today. So I had to drive to Hanover to get the items I wanted. So I would like to see, just be nice to have the front there, the commercial development, gentlemen, and leave the back part of the leave it as is, and let just stay that beautiful background as it is, because it adjoins the cemetery. And I spend a lot of time in both of those cemeteries. I go down that road behind there a lot, and I love the peace and quiet when I go over there. And I wouldn't want to have to go over there and listen to cars and traffic and noise and blah, 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 blah all the time. Anyway, I hope y'all will make the right decision on this development. And I would like to see it continue as it is, and or maybe have a grocery store and a nice mom and pop restaurant like we used to have here years ago. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Bonnie, for your comments. Do we have anybody else who'd like to speak? All right, any questions? Anybody got any questions for Dan? And
Mayor,
yes, ma'am.
perhaps you could ask council what council's pleasure is, whether to close the public hearing or to keep it open for next month.
Well, that's what I was trying to do, was to keep it open with a discussion, but I imagine they got some questions they would like to ask. I don't want to close it. So can we
Okay.
go to
Yes.
questions and answers?
Yes.
Okay, all right, thank you. Anybody have any concerns, any questions for Dan or Chad on this?
Okay. Yeah, I got a few questions. Let me see here. Let me go for our staff first, if they might know. Okay, so first one, hopefully you know the answers. Do we know this this project, what percentage of the total area of the annex it would encompass? No, even just like a guess.
I mean, I don't.
Okay. I'm trying to draw and kind of figure out. I mean, that was just more of an informational thing for everybody, but
I mean, you have a. I mean, do you have a copy of the?
yes, I was trying to
the
draw it
comp
here. It looks to be
plan
like
and-
a fifth or so.
Well, I mean, but you have to look at both sides. Both sides of 301. All of that was annexed.
True.
I mean, I would just imagine we're only 19 and a half acres, and I'm sure that it is quite larger
Oh,
than that.
it is, it
Yeah,
is, it
yeah.
is. Yeah, it was the lowball
I-
question first.
Yeah.
Okay, what are there other? Okay, this is another staff one. Maybe Josh. Do we know the water system? I'm trying to get for every individual, like a per capita number of the revenue income of per person, averaged out. Like, are we still subsidizing it? It does pay for itself now, right? Water usage.
I can look into that and bring that information back. I don't think we have that information tonight.
Okay. Well, do we know if it's even paying for itself?
I think that that's the direction that council was headed
Mhm.
in that water study in
Right, because we
the,
did increase the rate.
yes, and so this year, every year, there was supposed to be a little bit more of an
Mhm.
increase until you got to the right amount.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
so I can pull that
all right,
document
to my
back.
recollection, we
yeah,
were.
It is still subsidized, Jeff. It is, from my understanding.
Okay.
We're just better, we just had to meet the requirements to at least get some funding for future grants. So that's the only, I mean, but it is still subsidized.
Yeah, I didn't know where we were in that process. I know that like we had to be on a rate increase plan to where we get,
Right.
got a few more years for that in order to qualify because we were charging too low before. Basically, my point being, if we're still subsidizing it, adding more people is going to actually cost us rather than get us any money. But if we're on that path, I'd like to see where that is.
I'll be happy to bring, we'll be happy to bring that
Okay.
information back to you.
Yeah, I mean, I have faith, we're on that plan, so I'm sure we'll get there. I just want to know exactly where it is, that's all.
Yeah, Jeff, I mean, I know that, I mean, the study was done and we knew what that needed to be in order to pay for itself and a plan, and they, council approved that with the multiple increases to get to that point.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, I don't want to like make a decision now based off what's now, if I know, later is going to be like, I just haven't looked at those numbers in a while. And that rate plan was voted on a good 2 years ago now, I think. Okay. You can interrupt me at any time. Okay, now I'll move over to you now, Dan. So I did read in the notes, there were concerns about the trail and everything. So some of that's going to be on the property itself, and some of that's going to be in the VDOT right away. So you want to go ahead and explain the responsibility of the trail for everybody, just to touch on that?
I mean, it would be the responsibility of the HOA,
Mhm.
of our HOA with our development to maintain that.
Would that include the VDOT section?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
And we have run that through VDOT.
Mhm.
We've run that by conceptually, not a detailed design just because we haven't been to that, but conceptually VDOT is fine with what we're proposing.
So my understanding is that's not out of ordinary to have that anyway. So
Correct.
okay. With the fact that you have that trail going around the whole thing, and going up against all the wetlands in there, what kind of service? What's the word I'm looking for? I'm concerned about the safety. Speak to the safety aspects of how that trail would be versus, of course, that trail would be going around the backyards of a bunch of people. So it'll be house, backyard, trail, buffer, wetlands. Any safety aspects in there to keep people from kind of, getting lost in the swamp and whatnot?
I mean, we haven't proposed anything right now. I mean, we're certainly open to considering and looking at that. I mean, I am not aware of any safety items that would come. I mean, we look at Lake Caroline, we have plenty of houses backing on water typically. Waterfront property is some of the most valuable because we like to go in and we like to enjoy not only the recreational aspects, but just the visual aspects. And if you've been out to this property and looked, what we're trying to do is provide all of the residents within the subdivision, the opportunity to go out and enjoy all of nature that happens to be right there. But I mean, we can certainly, if you have some suggestions, I mean, I'm certainly open to looking at something, maybe some sort of fencing that, could delineate areas to prohibit maybe people from walking. But
Right.
Did you have any specific concerns for safety?
Well, to be honest, I haven't been out there. I'd like to see out there. I've not exactly hiked back behind 301 before. Probably worth seeing it.
I'd love to take you out there anytime.
Yeah,
We can walk through there and
I'd
look.
definitely like
Yeah.
to see it because I don't know what those wetlands look like up close. So
Mhm,
it was just I know that there's always concerns about wetlands, so I just wanted to bring it up and chat.
Yeah, I mean, we certainly don't want the disturbance of any wetlands, and so there is an RPA feature that protects that from any future development or encroachments with clearing and any development or people trying to do anything in there. That's something that that puts a protection so that if something does occur, one, the HOA can first handle it, and making sure there aren't any violations, and if the HOA isn't, then a locality could do that.
Okay. How would you foresee this connecting to future development there? Say everything gets filled out. This is
Well,
proposing that one turn, from 301. Okay.
Can you put the slides back up? And I want to go to the GDP. If you could go to the next slide.
She has to make it so that the ones on Zoom can see it too.
Oh, I'm sorry. I wanted to go back the other way. Next one, right there. So, Jeff, in order to connect this to anything adjacent, what we are doing is we are providing an interparcel connection right here.
Yeah, that was my assumption. I just wanted to,
Mhm.
have that confirmed or
Yeah.
Cool. Let's see. Other thoughts. Some of that would be for discussion, not for now. If since we're going to maybe entertaining continuing this thing, do you think for the sake of public knowledge, we can get some pictures of what those buffers look like right now in the winter?
The buffers that I took for the 3 houses, get pictures right now?
Well, here specifically for this project.
You're saying that the picture that I took right out on 301, take a picture of what that looks like today?
Yes,
Absolutely.
just for
Yeah,
knowledge.
Yeah.
All right, I'd appreciate it. I think as far as questions, that's going to do it. Thanks.
Thank you, Jeff. I appreciate it.
May I add something about the interparcel connection? So in order for it to go through, there's a small area that would be owned by the HOA, and you would need this to, it would need to be shown to connect all the way to the edge of the property line. I've actually dealt with this issue before where the HOA then says, no, we don't want this to connect. And right now it's showing that it's a few feet away from the property line. So it's just, would need to be an adjustment of the development plan.
We just need to make sure that's clear that there's a connection there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, thanks.
I mean, currently the Manses have an easement on that piece that goes 30 feet over, but we can certainly get into those details.
Just future growth, questions that I have
Yes.
and everything.
Hi, Mr. Webb. A couple
Hi.
questions.
Okay.
Beautiful presentation. Give me some numbers on the road traffic versus the commercial and the residential.
Let me pull that spreadsheet. So I did an analysis based on the ITE, the Institute of Traffic Engineers manual, which is what VDOT requires that we utilize to generate traffic volumes. And so based on ITE traffic generation for the commercial layout that I did, that would generate a total of 5,700 vehicle trips per day. I did the same analysis based on our proposed residential rezoning, and that would generate 610 vehicle trips per day. So and those are all, theoretical proposed trips, but we're going from 5,700 down to 600.
That's
So
quite
it's a lot
substantial
less,
difference.
it's going to generate a lot less traffic than 19.5 acres of commercial retail.
And elaborate a little bit on the private road that's going to go in there.
Well, I mean, we had hoped, I read the ordinance a little different, but I'm not the decision maker. I feel as though we have the ability to go in and make that a private road. Allison, town manager, saying we don't. So, we need to figure out how to work through that. But what we had hoped to do was to have this be a private road and to have that be a private road. And one of the main reasons, for the townhomes, one of the main reasons we want them to be private is because HOA can do a whole lot better job at maintaining snow removal, all of that than VDOT. I mean, you see what mess there is right now. And HOA, they collect the funds. We're already going to have an HOA that's going to be maintaining all of the exterior of the townhome units in terms of grass, shrubbery. What we found that most people that want that type of development, they don't want to cut grass. They don't want any exterior maintenance. And so we feel as though that would be a lot better private because we could maintain it the way that we want to. We can push snow and put it where we
Absolutely, yeah.
need to. But, if we are not able to do that, we do have the ability to put in a 50-foot right-of-way and construct a VDOT state road. The things that we would need to modify on our plan, I have a parking area right here, a parking area there, a parking area there, and a parking area there. We're trying to provide additional parking. VDOT will not allow that. So we're going to have to figure out how, we'd have to eliminate those, and we can provide hammerhead turnarounds that are going to look just like that, that will meet the VDOT standard. But we're just going to have to figure out where we can put additional, parking because, the driveways are never enough when you have family, friends, different things, and it's always good to be overparked.
And you said all that across the street was already commercial?
Well, on the comprehensive plan, it's all
Right.
shown as commercial.
Commercial.
I tell you, I didn't verify whether it's all commercially zoned currently or not, but that, on the comprehensive plan, I mean, we're showing that all is commercial, and that's what the town's intent is, and that's a lot of commercial area over there. And I think we need to, provide some residential over here to help that develop.
Right. I don't see how it would make people's taxes go up. It should make people's taxes go down because it would be more shared.
Yeah, I can see that.
Uh, that's just my opinion, but just a general question. How long have you been in engineering?
I graduated from Virginia Tech in 1997. So since then, you do the
And
math. A long time, too
I'm
long.
just assuming several other projects under your belt,
Yes, I have
and
quite a few.
you live in the town,
I grew up in the town. I've lived in the town the majority of my life,
family's
other
in the
than
town,
family is in town.
so the town entrance is top priority.
No, absolutely. Absolutely it is.
And I can't think of anything else right now, but thank you. I love the
Thank you.
presentation. I fully support it.
Thank you.
Anybody else have any questions? Valerie, your turn.
Yeah, I just have a quick one. The 610 on your traffic, is that depending on one car per driveway or 2 to 3 cars in every driveway, including townhomes?
It really doesn't have anything to do with how many vehicles are in the driveway. The ITE manual, what you do is you go to the type of use.
All right, I appreciate
And
it.
so that's the standard. So what they've done is they have studies and they update those manuals
Right.
every couple of years. You're welcome.
I have one more concern. It was brought up about, I believe it was Maury Heights, but if I'm not correct, I don't even think that's in town, is it?
It's not, but it
Yeah.
is, the town supplies
So it's in
water
the
to that.
county. Yeah, it's in the
Yeah.
county. Well, in March, we had a guy here from BDHD, and he said we had plenty of water. It's just a matter of the permit. They only issue so much, and you can always get that permit extended. In other words, they're not going to give you the whole bag of candy. They're going to give you what you need.
That's right. So he was with VDH, and DEQ is the state agency that really monitors the well, and they're going to only permit the amount of water for well, the amount of water you take out of the well for what you need. If you can show a need to need more, they will adjust that permit up. But I'm sure that Josh can speak to that, a little better if anyone has any questions.
Now, as far as the water, Maury Heights well got bought into this. I don't know why, but it did. But we got to take a well offline. But the only reason the well has to come offline is not because of any contamination. It's because the well was not properly installed years ago, and we're getting contamination, water transferring back and forth between the top aqua and the lower aqua. So what DEQ has told us to do is to abandon that well and drill another one that primarily goes into the top aqua only. And all we got to do is just move over 10 feet, 20 feet, drill a hole, put it in. We're in the same, should be in the same aqua, but no problem, with water passing, testing. So we're not losing any water when we take a well off. We're not losing any water by putting in development or business. I mean, if that was the case, then why did council approve to put water and sewer out 301 annex? They done it for a reason. They done it to attract business, and they done it to attract houses, because they wanted to increase their revenues in this town. They want to increase the businesses, bring people here. We don't want to. I don't want to overgrow the town. But an old friend of mine, I won't call him old, he'll probably hit me. Old friend of mine said, if we don't have the rooftops, you're not going to have the people into the businesses. You put on the rooftops, you will bring businesses in. Without it, 301 has sat out there for years, and we haven't had anybody. We got the same things out there that we had, and don't have any idea on who's going to come in there. But if we put some rooftops out there, I guarantee you we'll start having some businesses wanting to come in, because now you have the people to support it. And that's what it's all about. So we want to make this town thriving. We want to promote business, have the businesses make money to stay in business. Right now, if you don't know it, our rent in this town is low. They can't even afford that because we don't have the people to support the businesses. I will say in the past 2 or 3 years, the town has turned around. We have people coming in, and it's only because of the hard work of the businesses and other people supporting. But without it, I mean, the building owners, we don't make any money. Trust me. And so, we're giving rent, and a lot of them can't even stay with that rent. So we need to build up, but we need to build up properly. So that's what this is about. Questions: what can we do? How can we do it? How can we make it look nice? And hopefully get this done.
I got another question.
All right.
Hey, Josh. Just can you roadmap us on where we are with the new well? Haven't got an update in a while.
So with the new well, the location has been approved. So from the time it was approved, we have 1 year to make progress on it. Start drilling it, testing it, or I have to call VDH again to get it reapproved, which shouldn't be too hard since it already has been. What I was waiting on is because if projects like Mr. Webb's and Mr. Mann's, if those are approved, rather than put a pump that only pumps, say, 100 gallons a minute when we need a pump that pumps 125 gallons a minute, I would rather put that well in the ground now versus having to figure out another spot for another well. So it makes more sense to drill the well, test it for 125 gallons per minute now versus only doing it for 100 gallons per minute and then later needing additional, capacity as far as like, well capacity.
Okay, I'd like to see us head towards that 125 kind of regardless. I'd like to be hopeful that we grow.
I think
But,
the idea, what staff was asked to do was go to see if there were grants for this.
Yes,
Because we already have a quote, we need to get 2 more, but
Okay.
The question is whether there's a grant out there.
I have a lot of shovels. Just let me know.
We even look for the grants. Have we researched it? I mean, we were given money from the government already, and when there's money in your pockets, a lot of time grants aren't available. But have we looked?
I've started to a little bit, but again,
Yeah.
I was kind of waiting, not
Okay.
to sway anybody's decision on approval or disapproval. It's just there's going to be a slight cost difference between a lower horsepower well versus a higher one. So rather than spend all the time, figuring out the cost for, the current, like the standard current well that's there, when we actually need a different,
Could
setup.
we get that just on the agenda for us to kind of settle at the next meeting? Just to give him the clarification to go ahead, well, after discussion of it, to just go with the higher.
Well, I think we need to go with higher anyway because we have 80 vacant lots out there.
I agree.
Plus Maury
That's what I'm
Heights,
getting at,
and
but,
I mean, we have needs already.
Yes.
So, yeah.
I'm assuming that's something we have to approve, so I think we should get that on there so that we approve it.
Absolutely. Josh has been working on budget and CIP, so I'll
Oh,
get
yeah,
him
yeah.
working on that
Well, sounds good.
for the next meeting. Thank you.
All right. Any more questions? Deborah, you good?
Yeah,
All right.
you guys talk about water, and I do have one statement about the water, though. I mean, my concerns are the resources of our water, and I know I was there when they came in, when we had a great engineer who worked for DEQ, and he told us our aquifers were in good shape, but it does cost money to do this. And you're talking about opening and closing wells, and those are my big concerns too. Those are more responsibilities on the town. And my big concern with this whole project is the zoning. I feel like we zoned it and we put water out there for commercial and residential. And I feel like the growth, the density of this project with all the townhomes and the residential is it's putting a lot of pull on the natural resources. And I don't know. I gotta, I don't really have any questions about it because I don't see that anything's changed since the planning commission. And they pretty much said they all denied it. And every person that I saw stand up for this project, they were not in favor of it. So I guess that's pretty much where I am with this whole thing. I don't know if anything has changed since then. It doesn't appear that it has. So those, I have all the concerns that the people of this town do because I represent the town.
All right. Thank you.
That's my statement. Yeah.
All right. Do I hear a motion to move the public hearing till the February meeting?
I'll make that motion.
Got a motion by Jeff. Do I have a second? Got a second by Ms. Gaines. All in Jean. I'm gonna a roll call. Jean.
Wait, hold on.
What? Hang on a second. Hold on.
We did we had the question section.
Yeah, let's do discussion.
Yeah, we haven't had
Sorry,
discussion on the
you're right.
project. I don't know if anybody wanted
got
to,
it-
but
I
I was
got ahead
holding
of
my
myself.
discussion.
Have discussion?
Can I recommend that you can go ahead and vote on keeping the public hearing open and then have discussion if you would like?
Sure.
Okay. All right. That's what we're gonna do then. We've got a motion and a second. Jean? Okay. Jeff?
Aye.
Gaines? Valerie? Deborah?
Hi.
All right, we'll move this public hearing until February at our next meeting. Now, does anybody want to have any discussions on this before we move on to the next agenda? If not, you can do it in member comments. Moving on to public comments. Anybody have any public comments? If so, come up, speak, state your name, where you live. I'll give you 2 minutes. We don't have any delegations. This is public comment. If you want to speak, you can do that. Yes.
Council again, I guess I don't introduce myself, but I'm Bonnie Cannon, South Main Street, and I'd just like to make a comment about the trash pickup. I have asked previously to be deleted from trash pickup, and this council changed and left waste management and went to Shiflet. Shiflet asked y'all to switch from Thursday to Wednesday. My husband stumbled and tripled because he can hardly walk to get the trash out in the ice yesterday to the street. So then I find out this morning, not till this morning, that the trash won't be picked up till next week. And I think that's totally unacceptable because now I'm going to have to go to the landfill like I do all the time anyway, in addition to paying the town. Thank you.
You're welcome, Bonnie. But everybody's in the same pinch. Anybody else? Dan?
I do have one comment about trash. One thing that's frustrates me, it seems like the trash truck is always leaking stuff. And I don't know if that's been corrected or not. I know we always had an awful problem with waste management in their trucks. And I felt like all summer, they were just dragging and wherever they dump and compact. And I don't know how we stay on top of them, but it was always a frustration and always something that I felt like we as a council always had to deal with. And it appears to me that we're still dealing with that. And that's it.
All right, thank you, Dan. Anybody else? All right, moving on to members' comments. Council members have any comments?
Yes, I do.
Yes, ma'am.
I have a thank you note from Don Robinson's family. Your kind of expression of sympathy is deeply appreciated and gratefully acknowledged. Thank you for the beautiful flowers, thoughts, and prayers during our time of loss. Judy.
Ma'am. Very nice. Anybody else?
Yeah, I want to speak to that trash thing real quick. I'm surprised to hear that from you, Dan. It's good to hear that. Want to hear those kinds of complaints. For my own self, I'd say that I used to have the trouble with the trash cans being knocked over when I go to pull them back, or some trash still left in the bin. And for me, that's actually improved. So I found that interesting. I want to keep hearing that if that's an issue, of course. I think with this week, it's just, I don't want to use the term perfect storm, but just happened to be on that day when I guess this communication couldn't really happen. Maybe we could make an effort, maybe we could say direct staff to try to communicate with them, but ultimately the best that we could do as a town would be to put some sort of official notice that, hey, the trash isn't going to happen today. Like if it had still been Thursday, then they might have actually come and got him, but it was the day after the event, and so they didn't, and they themselves, from what I was able to find out on their personal Facebook page, they had a notice about it, but it was still hours before. So I think that was just a awkward situation with that. And moving the day or even having a different vendor probably wouldn't have made much difference, but still things to take note of, particularly over time. As far as discussing the trash, that is something that I would like to bring to the council to discuss. I've been trying to wait for a agenda that is not packed full of a bunch of other things, but it is something that I want to have on the agenda at some point. Just as far as our constituents' desire to be on the rolls for that. I'm done.
All right, anybody else? All right, I will add to the trash. That is a big problem that we're having right now. Yeah, not a big problem, but it's to some people it is. We're finding out that they're not doing the recycle like they should. when they come around, they're picking up the trash and the recycle all in the same truck. We talked to the driver. He denied it. I went out down Milford and Maury and checked trash cans. This was in the morning now, and both were empty, recycle and regular. We've had people complain to us about it. We've had people sit in their house and watch them take both of them at the same time. So Allison is on that and addressing the issue with Shiflets because the contract states that they will sort them out. And if I'm not mistaken, when they first come in, unless I've got it mixed up, that they said they had trucks that were that had two containers in them, and they were able to do them both at the same time. But the trucks that are coming in are not.
So we were able to, people were able to see, because like last I heard was a complaint about that. And then it's like, no, we have a thing, we can pull the lever and make it go on the other one. People have been able to
No,
confirm.
they don't have that. Matter of fact, the driver says they don't have trucks like that.
Oh, all right.
Yeah. So, I was standing in there when they called him at the door and we were hammering him with it. And he said, no, I'm not picking it up. Well, when I go out and look, yeah, he was. So Allison is working on that. As far as the cleanliness on the trucks, I don't see as much of a mess as waste management. Waste management was always leaking, get grease all over my damn trash cans, So I will have to say they're a little bit neater, and I'm not saying anybody's perfect. Other than that, if nobody else has anything, Allison, were you going to say something? Or did I take your glory?
Sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I was going to tell everyone how I chased that trash truck down.
You did. Hey, come here.
to find out if it was correct, because we've had a lot of complaints about it, and I want to make sure the truth is told. And we originally were told by Shiflets that the trash truck separated the items. There was a separate area for the recycling. And so I told him to prove it to me, and he said it does not separate, that it's a second truck that comes along and collects the recyclables. That does not seem to be an accurate statement either, and I decided to follow the trash truck, but I haven't been able to do it yet. So I want the truth, because I want to give the citizens the truth, because they are concerned about their recyclables.
Right, and a lot of them are. When they first started out, I thought they were doing good because I would see the second truck come around and pick up my recycle. But that has slowly gone away from that. All right.
Hey, we did get an email saying that they weren't going to be, and that was from the town. So thank you guys for that, that they weren't going to be coming on the regular day this week.
Thank you. I'm sorry it was delayed. It was, but we'll try to do better next time. We're just learning new tasks. So.
Yeah.
All right. Moving on to staff reports and presentations. Item number 5, Public Works and Utilities Monthly Report. Anybody have anything for Josh? Hearing none. Moving on to Police Department Monthly Report, item 6. Chief, I will say y'all been doing pretty good for just the two of you. We see you out there all the time. I like your little trailer you put out there. That really works. I know I see people coming down through there, and as soon as they see them lights flashing, their brake lights are on. They're slowing down. So it does work.
I just wish it gave tickets.
You just wish it gave tickets, huh?
That'd be nice.
But now keep up the good work, you and Rusty, and I hope you have luck in finding a part-time.
Yeah, any luck there yet?
No one's applied yet, sir.
Yeah, well, they'll come around. Next on the agenda, item 7, Town Clerk's Treasurer Monthly Report. Anybody have anything for the treasurer? Town Clerk. All the bills look good? Money? All right. Last
The
item
print is
is
so small.
Huh?
It's so hard to read it. It's so small.
Yeah. Get your magnifying glasses out.
Dollar General sells those.
Number 8, Town Manager Monthly Report. Do you have anything more to add, Allison? before we
Yes,
move on?
sir. So we did talk about trash collection already. There is the component of the commercial collection as different businesses shift around in our downtown, and some are opting out. It is placing more of a burden on other businesses. We did have an overage. Anytime there's more trash that is piled too high, then we have to pay for that. And so there was an overage that of $125, which the town has paid, but somehow we need to distribute that that allotment.
Where was that at?
It was during the time. It was during the time that the heist was doing their improvements, interior improvements,
So it was
and
the trash can?
but that is shared by all the many of the businesses, and so you can't really point fingers at a particular business. So we have to distribute that somehow. And then when the cost gets too high for one because others decide to opt out, there's a lot of moving parts to this.
Right.
Waste Management has increased their fee by about 40% for commercial trash collection. So that should be coming to the council soon as an issue, because it does take up staff time to try to coordinate that. And there's a lot of frustration by the businesses when they know that that the cost is going up for them on trash collection. So there's that.
We need to let the businesses know not to overfill the cans, or they're going to be charged.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll have to do something that way, because anyhow, all right, proceed, sorry.
So we did talk in the work session, and I just wanted to make sure it was on record that the Planning Commission is reviewing the current code requirement of site plans being required for changes of use and different businesses, and whether it's a proper burden to place on these people for the requirement of getting a site plan by a licensed engineer, and then the waiver requirement going to council. So that is being reviewed by the Planning Commission. You might see a couple of those in the near future. And then there's also some exciting things happening, like there's so many people that are interested in having a visitor center, and then what we're going to do with the events in 2022, sorry. And there's a lot of volunteers and really enthusiastic people that are making Bowling Green great. So we'll be reaching out for, I thought maybe a survey or something to try to find out what citizens and businesses would like to have. So we'll be reaching out that type of thing. And then, of course, just a sentence on the changes of the job descriptions. And so there'll be more coming with that as well. If there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
All right, hearing none, move on to consent agendas. Do I have a motion to accept the consent agendas as they are, items 9, 10, and 11? Come on, Jeff.
I was giving somebody else a chance.
I so moved.
All right.
All right,
second.
Gene first is, Jeff, you seconded it? You got a second by Jeff. All in favor, say aye. All opposed? All right, it passes. All right, next one is item unfinished business, item 12, which is a request to amend the charter to prohibit married couples, which should be not married, but immediate families.
Mr. Mayor,
Ma'am?
just prepared the draft resolution because at the last meeting I was directed to, I was unsure of the wording, and the resolution has been updated to say members of the immediate family.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. I got it right here in front of me. That's why I changed my improv. I know it was requested to be put on. So I will read the resolution and then we will go from there on it.
Hey, Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
if I may, just for the sake of being thorough, I think that the wording excuse me, sorry about that. I don't think that exactly encompasses the intent. I think the intent was a bit more broad. Not that I can write these things, but I believe the idea is more of a, something to the effect of, anyone in the immediate family cannot be in any elected or appointed position in the town locality.
Well, here's my issue with the whole thing.
Oh, sure.
The state doesn't not require it.
Oh, I had plenty of discussion once we got there. I just
why are we trying to rewrite the state rules for ourselves? And immediate family can be anybody. Your cousin, my cousin. I mean, your cousin and your other cousin.
Oh yeah,
It's not. We're not talking about. I mean, it's a person's given or constitutional right to run for elected offices. Okay, as long as they haven't created felonies, and what other, they're a citizen and all this and that. But it's their constitutional right. The state of Virginia doesn't have anything against it. So what we're doing is we're asking for a resolution to go to a public hearing, if that's what you all want. That the public hearing will then vote on it to whether we send it up to the state assembly. That meets sometime in the fall. Is that right? Right, Andrea?
Well, we would need to submit it to our legislator in the fall, but I believe that the town manager had a conversation with Ms. Davis late today, and that Ms. Davis wanted to see if it might be possible to get this resolution in the upcoming session of the General Assembly.
Okay. All right. Now I've lost my train of thought. But anyhow, so it's up whether you want to send it through or not. So what we got to do tonight is I'll read the resolution. We'll discuss it. Vote. Somebody make a motion whether we send it to have a public hearing, which is going to cost money, and then send it through. Vote on it then if we're going to send it up, and take a probably pretty good chance that it's not going to go. Because what's the difference with me and Allison, who are roommates, going up and running, and we collaborate all the time? You see what I'm saying? You're now being segregated. So, I understand the situation may not always look good, but it doesn't mean that, we got to now start segregating people out on who can run for offices. So I'm going to read this thing. Many citizens have stated that it appears improper for members of an immediate family to both serve on the Bowling Green Town Council. And neither state law nor charter prohibits immediate family members from serving on council at the same time. An amendment to the charter or state law would be required in order to prohibit immediate family members from serving on town council at the same time. Therefore, be it resolved by the Bowling Green Town Council at its meeting on January 6, 2022, that a request to amend the town charter so as to prohibit immediate family members from serving on town council at the same time shall be made to the Virginia General Assembly. So we can now go from here. How do y'all want to do this?
Discussion?
Motion, discussion?
Well, normally you'd motion first.
Yep, rather,
I move that, I make a motion that we send it to the legislature.
I already got a motion on the floor by Gene that we send it to public hearing. Do I have a second?
I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor, her motion was to send it to the legislature for possible inclusion in this year's.
I thought we had to go to public hearing for stuff like this. Was I not told that?
The state law does require that.
Okay,
But I believe that Ms. Davis has requested that,
okay, all right. So
that we attempt
I'll
to get
reframe
it.
that. So Ms. David has made a motion that we send it straight to the Virginia Assembly. Do I
Without
have a
public
second on
hearing?
that? Hearing none, the motion doesn't carry. All right, moving on. Item number 13, health insurance. Let's hear the good news.
In the upcoming year, beginning March 1st, 2022, with the enrollment period being, the open enrollment period beginning February, so just in a few weeks, we'll need to decide, everyone will need to decide what health insurance they would like to sign up for, all the employees, I mean. And the increase is 22% because there's significant costs that were incurred from claims by employees in the group plan, which included Caroline County and Bowling Green. And so there's an executive summary that's attached to this. It is the summary that went to the Board of Supervisors in Caroline County. They chose, after review, option 1, which was to cover 75% of the cost increase, with the employees covering the remaining 25%. That would keep it level with the current the current offer that the county has, where they cover a certain amount of insurance. So that means, based on the yearly cost currently, now, of course, it depends on who decides to enroll for health insurance, but that means that currently, if everything stays the same, that it's $11,489.85 that the town would pay above and beyond what they're paying currently to stay consistent with what Caroline County is doing. And the $530 monthly fee, the monthly amount, if employees don't have health insurance, which is $6,360 a year for those employees, that will not change. That's in the personnel policy as currently as a benefit. And so that will not change just because the health insurance has increased by 22%.
Guess it's like anything else.
I need to ask you guys something. So I understand that Caroline County, they do not give their employees that amount of money if they don't take the insurance. Is that correct?
That's correct.
So how did it happen that we did?
I'm not sure. It started a long time ago.
Dan, you know anything about it? How long ago it's been in effect? You know? Okay. It's been in effect for a while. I know it's been in effect longer since I've been
It
on.
has, but, and I remember being, I mean, I'm certainly an advocate for health insurance, but I did not realize that we were paying people if they chose not to get the insurance. And that might get a little sticky, but I don't understand how, and that cannot be changed.
It can be changed. I talked to the town attorney, and the personnel policy can be removed. It's a benefit.
And I would recommend, if it's going to be changed, that it be done in conjunction with open enrollment, so that if an employee who's currently not participating in health insurance would like to, then they have that option. My recollection is that this provision was added when Reese Peck was town manager.
No, it's been on there before that.
Was it? Okay.
Yes.
But see, I think you're right, Andre, and I'll tell you why, because I don't think we offered our town employees health insurance, did we? Because we joined the county at that time. I remember a lot of discussion with Reese, and that it may be irrelevant, but
And we had insurance before.
Okay.
The reason we had to go with the county is because one of the insurance we had went with, we were there with them for a year, and they turned around and they dropped us. So we had to scramble, and we were able to get on with the county. Thank goodness.
That's overall
But,
good because a larger pool of people.
What's that?
It's better to be on a larger pool of people.
Yeah, it
to
is.
spread it.
It's better. They dropped us because we only had some, just very handful of people on it, and it wasn't worth their while to do it. And we found it hard to find anybody else. But that benefit has been on there for a while.
Is it being used much?
I'm sure it is.
There are 3 or 4 employees.
If it's offered to you, you're going to take it, right?
Of course.
And certainly if you need insurance, I'm all about that. But I kind of feel like if you don't need the insurance, I don't get the gist of just paying people. I'm sorry. I kind of think we need to adjust. We need to look at that. And if it needs to be done in open enrollment, when is open enrollment? Is that October?
October.
No, that is in a few weeks. That's beginning February.
Okay.
Can I join in?
Well,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, I agree that it probably shouldn't be paid out to people that don't take the insurance, yes. But the people that are receiving it now should continue to receive it. They were told they were going to receive it. They're budgeted for that, and it's not like it's just $100. It's how much? $400 or $500? So
No,
that's
it's $6,360 per year.
So 500 some dollars a month. That's half
530
their
a month.
mortgage.
Well,
That's
how
half
much?
their mortgage if they're.
May I say something, please?
Yes, you may.
That money is not directly given to the
No.
employees. It is put into their nationwide investment. It's
Oh.
not a check or anything sent directly to the employees.
Oh,
Yeah, it's
deferred
processed as like a 457. It goes to benefit their retirement.
oh, okay.
Yeah. And also, I think you can use it to get like Aflac or something as well. Yeah, okay.
Yes, you can take the amount that's allotted, and if you want to use it toward extended coverage, AFLAC,
Right.
cancer policies, and that, you can use that allotted
For that.
amount to those programs.
Okay.
What's the
I say that those that are on it should be continued to be on it because that's what they were hired as. But new hires, it's a new policy.
You actually, I don't believe you can do that, Andrea. You have got to offer this to everybody,
it's kind of like the open
it's-
enrollment itself.
basically, so you're not discriminating against. Is that correct, Andrea? Ms. Everard, you need to offer this to everyone, even new employees.
Did we lose you? Andrea?
No. Yeah. I said correct. Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so for me, cash in lieu of benefits, everyone is already enrolled in Virginia Retirement, VRS. So you're already getting that benefit. I just don't see how giving them, I don't even know how this began or when it started. I don't know how they set it up with Nationwide because Basically, if I read this correctly from the code, it goes to your paycheck and it is supposed to be taxable. I don't see that getting done, but I just don't see this as any benefit to the financial goals of this town. I just don't see paying out continuous extra money. I don't see this as an incentive to hire new people, because basically that new person isn't going to even know about this until after an interview, even if they're there. So I don't see it as an incentive. But more importantly, this is taxpayer money. This is our money. As a taxpayer, I would walk behind that podium and say, I am not for this, because I don't want my taxpayer money just being given out. As we get more employees, we have to give more employees money. That's a lot of money that we're going to start expending here. Again, for me, this does nothing to the financial goals that we hope to create for the town. I just think it's a lot of extra money. I know it is been given to people, but perhaps at the time it was done, that understanding wasn't there. I don't know. But for me, there's no reason to give this as retirement if you're already enrolled in VRS. So it's just an extra goodie that we are paying for, and the residents. We have a fiduciary responsibility to this town and to the taxpayers, and to give out this kind of money, well, it's a lot of money. And I just don't see the point. Sorry.
All right, if I may ask, so the $6,360, what's the? I know it's an average in that case, but what would be a person that does take the health care? What were we generally paying out on average per person with that? Like, is this $6,000 costing us more, or is it costing us less for that person?
It's the same amount, my understanding.
No, I think we pay more if somebody decides to take the health insurance.
Okay.
So it depends. There's these tiers depending on whether you're if you look at the second page, I can't even read it.
Yeah, what page?
88, and it says.
Depends if it's a spouse or, is that what you're looking at?
Oh, yeah, it's totally going to depend on the person's situation. I was just curious. Because 6,000 is a bit, but in my mind, that would definitely be less than a benefits package for sure. Although I would approach it slightly differently. Although I can see the opposite side of it. If I were looking to apply, and I'm going to round this a little maybe low, but if I were looking to employment here and say it was just 50,000 for an easy flat number, and the value of the benefits package was just say 10, so that would go from $50,000 to $60,000 value. What I'd be looking at applying here, or 66,360, 56,360. I really do think of that benefit as being part of the value of the application in the first place. So to have a disparity between, oh, you need insurance? Okay, well, this is valuable for you. If you don't need insurance because you're covered in a better plan from a spouse or you're retired, then the job is just plain less valuable to you. So go apply somewhere else. I don't know that I like that part. Take away a benefit and make it less valuable just because a person doesn't need that when we had another thing. Like right now, anybody could just give me that. I kind of like the idea of it going towards, rather than just a straight paycheck increase, like you can have it go into a retirement fund. But I could be for looking more into it though. Just
Well,
based
why
off.
not do that for everyone? I guess, Jeff, is my thing. But I'm looking at the fact that I feel like we have struggled with the salaries of everybody
Mhm.
anyway. And we've looked at the fact that we raised everybody, and now we're looking at, gosh, I mean, the whole thing is about salaries. It's been about salaries for the last 2 years.
Yeah, I
how
think we're
we've-
kind of on a little rubber banding back to like every little place that we can kind of
Yeah.
cut now.
And so I don't know. I struggle with this one big, and I'm like Valerie. I represent not just myself in this, but the taxpaying dollars. And I don't know. Maybe we need to. I'm all about, if you need health insurance, we should offer that. And, and that's a big thing that you're offering somebody, but, this other business, we need to talk about that.
The additional purpose here is if you opt out of employer health insurance, you have to attest that you do have minimum essential coverage annually. So for everyone who takes this, they have to attest that they have health insurance from another source. So it's not like they do not have health insurance, because you have to make sure they do. So for me, it's not, you're not having anything. You're getting insurance, you're in the VRS, and you're getting an added benefit that taxpayers are paying for. For me, that's a big issue. It's not all our money. However, it is our money. It's us. It's Judy paying, actually, you're paying for your own benefit because it's your taxpayer money. I don't know how else to put things, but I understand your point as well.
All right, well, we need some motions, or motion to stay with the employee health insurance as it is with the increases. Do a 70-30 like the county is. And if you want to do something with the 500 or whatever it is, add it in. If not, but what are we going to do? Do I have a motion?
I sat through this at the county level already, so I did kind of learn about it. I'm ready to make a motion unless there are some more questions about the specific options.
Do what now? Say that again.
I'll go ahead and just make a motion. I'd like to make a motion that we go with option 1 to be same as the county.
Okay. All right, I have a motion on the floor to go with option 1, same as the county, and that's doing the 70-30 split. Do I have a second to that?
Is that including the 63?
What?
Are you making a separate motion? Is that?
No, that motion did not. That motion is just, it's going with the option 1 health insurance.
Oh, I'll second it then.
All right, we got a second by Valerie. Do a roll call. Valerie?
Yes.
Wait,
Yes.
so I just want clarification. What we're talking about, you're doing option 1, and so everything else is staying the same, is that right?
As of right now, unless somebody else does something else.
Right.
But
Well, that's what I
So
wanted
yes.
clarification on too.
Yes.
If it includes the 6360, is your motion including everything on this page?
The way I read this, it didn't seem that it did. This blurb on the bottom just seemed as an informational piece, because that has nothing to do with the county.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, all we're talking about is county health insurance.
Let me get clarification. Allison, my motion to go with option 1 to match the county is irrelevant to that bottom blurb, right?
Well, that's what I just need clarification on that.
Okay.
So we're leaving that alone.
Yes.
And we're going with option 1.
Yeah, and then we can totally discuss
So
that.
you want to better clarify your motion then for me.
And I guess, I want to know, what does the county do then? Okay, I know what you're offering as far as the same plan, but you said that they don't give their employees that benefit of opting out and taking that and putting it in some kind of an account. What do
No.
they do?
They don't do anything. They do as you said, where they just offer the benefit of health insurance. In the many places I've worked, there's been 2 that have offered. One offered $100 a month and one offered $50 a month. And I have really tried to convince localities to offer something, but typically the surrounding counties, which is who we're competing with for staff, they don't offer that benefit.
All right. So Jeff, your motion is option 1 that the county is doing the 70-30 split like they got, and that excludes the.
Yes, that's not part of my motion.
Okay, that's the 66 is no part of your motion. All right.
Correct.
We have a first and we have a second. All right, Valerie,
Yes.
Ms. Gaines,
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
So it excludes paying the additional.
It doesn't have
no,
anything
no,
to do
it doesn't
with it.
even, it don't have nothing to do with
Nothing
it.
to do with it.
Yeah, like
It-
we can continue discussing that.
Okay.
Right, yes, it has nothing to do with that.
And can
Okay,
I just get
yes,
clarification?
Jeff,
Again, clarification that option one.
can I finish,
Yes.
Jeff? Yes, no?
Yes.
Gene? Deborah?
Yes.
All right, motion carries on the health insurance. Now go ahead, Alice, and say what you was gonna say.
Well, it was noted in the motion that it was 70-30, when in fact, it's not exactly 70-30.
Well,
So
what is it?
option one is not 70-30. It's generally that. So I just wanted clarification that it was option one, just like the county. We're meeting what the
said that too.
county. Yeah.
Yes, meeting.
Right, yes. Well, I know when you and I talked about it, we were saying
It-
70-30,
it's just what the
70-30.
county's
So
offering.
that's, okay. Well, the option one for
Thank you.
whatever the county is doing, however they're doing, paying theirs.
Yes.
Is, yes, I said 70-30 because that's what I had heard mentioned in
Thank
here
you.
tonight too, so.
Yeah. I just wanted to make sure that everybody knew that. Thank you.
All right.
Option one.
Does anybody care to discuss the other any further before I move on?
I think we need to, I mean, what is the process for changing that? Because I think it needs to be changed.
You make a motion.
I make a motion then that we eliminate the option of,
Cash in lieu of benefits.
yes, exactly. Thank you, Valerie.
All right, do I have a second?
Second.
Got a second by Valerie. Discussion?
Can you restate the motion, Mr. Mayor? Some of the was a little garbled in the speaker.
Can you restate your motion again, Deborah?
I propose that we eliminate the option for people to draw the, what is the term, Valerie? Sorry.
Cash in lieu of benefits.
Yes, the cash in lieu benefits, that we eliminate that from the benefit package for a person, for employees in the town.
Cash. Okay.
And we have a second. Now we're in discussion.
I guess I feel like I don't really understand the process of it. You know, this is, and I feel like it probably shouldn't have been, but this is new to me. I guess it's new to several of us.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's news to me, but I don't think anybody else, I mean, even the county, no one else gets this benefit. And I feel like we are paying our employees very well. So I don't understand, you know, I don't really understand how this kind of happened, to be honest
I
with you.
can
don't
tell
think
you
anybody-
exactly how it happened. I was here.
Oh, all right.
And it came from our former mayor who worked for the co-op. And I brought this up and I brought it up. And nobody paid any attention to me. He kept saying, everybody does it. And everybody doesn't do it. And that's where it came from.
Thank you, Gene.
Okay then.
All right, any more discussions? All right, hearing none, we'll take a.
I'm sorry, I do have something. I mean,
Okay,
if there's only 3 on there, I mean, we really should think about just phasing it out, not totally deleting it. I mean, we're in a pickle already, short on people. I mean, that's just my opinion. I don't think so.
But if you
Well, I mean-
hire 3 people next year, you have got to offer this to them. And then you may have 3 more people, then you have 6. And then now you have more money. I mean, you can't not offer it to them. That's the
You can't
challenge
look
and
at it again
predicament
next
we're in.
year. You can't look at it again next year. I'm just saying for this forwarding.
You could, but
let's
you're in the
just get
same
through this
thing. You're
year.
still making that decision. You got to make the decision and just cut the ties. Can't.
Well, maybe
don't we look at
Tammy's
this
suggesting
every
something
year?
like if we were to drop it from 6,000 to 5,000 right now, and then next year drop it from 5,000 to 3,500, and then the next year after that do something else. Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess my thought is why?
Well, as she said, to phase it out, but there's many ways to handle it.
I guess the thing is, this is what you'll be telling, again, is it what you're thinking or is this what our community thinks? Because I feel like I'm really representing the community here. I don't think, a lot of places already even offered healthcare insurance. So, I'm a strong advocate for that. So I guess that's my thing. This is an extra benefit.
Yes, it is. This is also an extra benefit that I personally am finding out right now, and it's a large benefit that some people are currently getting, and so I do have an issue with suddenly being like, oh, okay, I just heard about this, so now I don't want you to have that benefit. I probably could end up leaning in that direction, but it's a little bit sudden for me to do that.
All right, are we done with discussions? All right, roll call. Gene?
What?
The motion is to do away with it.
Yes.
Jeff?
I'm going to go with no.
Tammy?
No.
Valerie?
Yes.
I can't even get her name out.
Deborah?
Deborah?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
That's 3-2, motion carries. Moving on to the last agenda. Giving permission to hire on. Approval of to hire town treasurer and administrative assistant. We already went over the details in the work session, but you have any questions still?
Mr. Mayor, I think that after the work session and the discussion, I do need to go back and amend these job descriptions.
Okay.
So if it's okay with council, I will leave the job descriptions on the town website and continue to advertise to try to get some applications, but I will come back and once amended, we'll put the new job descriptions.
Now, this doesn't say anything about job descriptions. It just says approval to hire a town treasurer and administrative assistant.
Okay,
So can we not give you permission to do that while you work on the job descriptions?
thank you.
It doesn't say anything about that. The motion is to approve a hire of town treasurer and administrative assistant.
Right.
Is that not right, Andrea?
Well, if that's the motion, I'd like to make that motion, Mr. Mayor.
All right. Then I got a second by Ms. Gaines. First by Jeff, second by Ms. Gaines. The motion is to approve the town manager to advertise to hire a treasurer and administrative assistant. She will work on the job descriptions as we go along, but we need to get it out there for her. We need to give her permission to do it. So I have a motion. Valerie?
Yes.
Ms. Gaines? Jeff?
Yes.
Ms. Davis?
Yes.
Motion carries. Do I hear we don't have any informational items. We don't have any committee reports. I don't think we did. We already met. Don't have anything else. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
We're out of here.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Night.
Good night.